Hello and welcome to the Old Goats Bait Experts DVD. My name's John Watson and you've joined me here at the fantastic Cobhouse Fishery set in the heart of the Worcestershire countryside. During this DVD we're going to talk about some of the bait range from the Old Goat stable. To help demonstrate these baits I'm joined by two of the UK's top anglers. Former world, European and UK champion and current Six Nations champion and key member of the Drennan Team England and the mighty Daiwood Dorking squad, Will Raisin. Will is regarded as one of the best match anglers in the world and has won virtually everything there is to win. We're also joined by Daiwood Dorking ace Mark Goddard, one of the best silverfish anglers around, former Silver Maniac Festival winner, consistent Drennan Knockout Cup performer and more recently a Mega Match This £50,000 finalist. Mark certainly knows a thing or two about using the right bait. First up, we're going to go and talk to Will and find out about these, the fresh keeping hook bait sausages. Right, Will.
Hello, mate.
Having a few?
Yeah, having a real good time, to be honest, mate. It's just feeding specimen carp down the edge.
How many have you had now?
I've had 6 or 7 now, all decent fish. One of them's a real monster, so it's fantastic, really, mate.
And what have you had them on?
Old Ghost sausage.
Yeah.
The bloodworm one.
Oh no, that's a favourite of yours, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely. With it coming, you know, it's getting slightly colder now, and red or yellow have always been my favourite colours to tempt those wary fish.
Yep.
And you know, today's no different. You can
Working
see
well.
there that fantastic. Get the hook out.
Great condition fish,
Yeah,
aren't they?
absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic, mate. I mean, it's probably the smallest one that I've had, but it just goes to show that even when it's cold, with the right hook baits and the right ground baits.
Yep.
See one of the maggots there. I'm feeding some dead maggots with some ground bait, and fantastic.
Fish. Absolutely brilliant. I know you're having a bit of fun, Will, but is it all right if we can borrow you and just go through some of the Old Ghost range?
No problem at all, mate.
Brilliant.
No problem.
Let's do that then.
Okay.
Come on. Sorry to drag you away from having a bit of fun over there, Will. But
I'll let you off this one.
That's no problem. You're catching those fish on the sausages.
Yeah.
The hook-bait sausages have proven really popular so far in the UK. They're not meat as such, but just have an explain about exactly what they are and what they do.
Well, I mean, basically what it's done, it's bridged the gap. We all know how popular baits like Pepper Army and this that aren't really made for fishing, but they really lend themselves to fishing.
Yeah.
And now we've got a purpose-built sausage bait that is flavoured for fish.
Yeah.
You know, we've got different colours, we've got flavourings. So instead of just being stuck with plain meat or having to flavour it, you've actually got a product now that can be used and bought specifically for fishing with fish attractants in.
Yeah.
And you know, it does just bridge a gap. People in the past have had to buy Pepper Army or meat, cut it, punch it, flavour it and adjust it, and now there's actual shop bought products
Specifically for
fishing, full of nutrients, full of fish catching, you know, ingredients, fish attractors.
Yeah.
And like I say, from the moment I saw them, I knew that they'd be a winner.
Yeah.
Used them all through the winter, and they're really starting to come into their own.
The good thing about them as well, Will, is they're all natural, 100% natural products in there, which, you know, fish home in on. They know it's natural. They're not put off by any preservatives or anything like that.
No.
And they do get the heads down on it, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, right from the start when I started using them in the winter, it was noticeable that the fish liked them. As with all the baits, the ground baits and the additives. But the meat is, like I say, ever since I was really young, I've always used Pepper Army meat. It's been a big part of my fishing.
Absolutely.
And it really has. Every now and then you get it in the tackle trade. You get a piece of kit that comes out that bridges a gap, that fills a void. And that's exactly what Old Ghost sausages have done.
Absolutely. And they are, if we open one up, I mean, they're very much like the consistency of a Polony sausage. But, you know, whereas those Polony sausages and Pepper Armies are made from sort of land animals, you know, pork,
exactly.
This isn't. This is made of you know, other products.
I mean,
as well.
this is one of my favourites, the bloodworm sausage, and you can actually see the bloodworm in the sausage.
Yeah.
You
See
know,
that, yeah.
and everything about it's right. You know, it's right for punching. You can use big bits, you can use small bits. You can really tailor it to your fishing,
Yeah.
which again is a massive advantage.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, the bloodworm one is my favourite one. Going into the winter, definitely the corn one.
Yeah.
It's nice and bright.
Yeah.
You know, the others are very good. You know, you've got the different colours.
Yeah,
And
what have we got here? We've got squid, haven't we?
yeah, the squid one, which is a darker, more oily one, which
Yeah.
again is very good. I've had a lot of success with that in coloured water,
Yeah.
where something smelly, something oily is
Yeah,
going
I
to
know, it
attract
does-
the fish.
it does
The fish
smell
are
a lot.
hunting more by smell
Yeah.
than sight. Then obviously if you get into clearer water, colder water,
Right,
the
sweet corn one.
the sweet corn one,
Absolutely.
the bloodworm one definitely
Yeah.
comes into its own.
I know a few anglers that have been using the snail sausage to good effect
Yeah, yeah.
as well, and it's
Yeah.
interesting to get feedback from across the country
Yeah.
that how different flavours work
Yeah,
on
yeah.
different venues.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
so by offering a choice of 4 different flavours, you're not
Mm.
restricting an angler to actually use one in particular.
No,
With
no.
polony, you've got to be a bit more inventive, and
Yeah, yeah.
but this takes all
Yeah.
the hassle out of that.
Well, like I've said, and for want of not keep repeating myself, it's bridged the gap.
yeah, absolutely.
Before, if luncheon meat's your favourite bait, the water's clear, you want a brighter bait,
Yeah.
you can't use luncheon meat, or you've got to dye it.
Yeah.
Now you don't. You can use the old ghost sausage, the yellow corn. If the water's coloured, you can go on to one of the more oily ones. And like I say, it really has bridged the gap. And the fact you can just go in your shop and pick it up now, instead of having to buy colourings, flavourings, preparing it the night before, and it's not quite right because it hasn't been purposely built
Yeah,
for fishing.
absolutely.
And like I say, these are full of fish catching ingredients, fish attractors, and they really are, you know, one of the top hook baits at the moment.
And they're not just designed for commercial fisheries either. I've had success
Yeah.
on the river with these
Yeah, yeah.
as well, and any angler can use these. And one of the fantastic part about all these is that these are only £1 a stick.
Exactly.
They're
exactly.
affordable.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
an absolute winner.
And you know, you can get a lot of hook baits out of one sausage.
Excellent. Show us how you'd mount it on a method rig.
Yeah, like I say, I've just got a normal running method rig here, just a standard hair rig. You can see there. Just like the hair
Yeah.
rig, you can put any bait, you can change it pretty quick. Just going to cut a little bit off, just cut it straight down the middle.
Simple to cut as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
like I
pepperoni
say,
is a bit tough, isn't it?
it's the kind of texture that's not too hard, it's not too soft, and it
Yeah.
really is very good. There's a lot of different ways of doing it. People can punch it like this,
Yeah.
and you can see there, you've got a nice bit,
Yeah,
absolutely perfect. And again, very easy to do. Basically, treat it like you would any other soft hooker baits. Straight onto the hair,
Yeah.
a hair stop there. I like a nice bright red one.
Yeah.
It just adds to. You can see
Attraction,
there the
yeah.
bloodworm now.
Yeah, I can see
You know,
that,
it's all
yeah.
natural bait.
Yeah.
It's all fish attractants, and that is why that is one of the top hook baits at the moment.
Absolutely.
It really is a fantastic, and for the sake of £1 of having each colour in your bag,
Yeah.
it's so easy to change.
That's it, £4.
You know,
can
it really,
buy-
really
yeah.
is.
You can also buy the bags in as packs. So once you do find your actual flavour
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
like, you can buy a bag for £4.5.
Definitely.
£4.50. You know.
Definitely.
Now I know you've had a lot of success last winter using
Yeah.
these hook bait sausages.
Yeah, yeah.
Just tell us your approach to how you've actually used it to great effect.
Well, like I say, in the winter, a lot of the venues I fish, the water goes clear. They're
Yeah.
big fish, they're wary fish, they've been fished for all summer. And what you find is that they go a little bit dormant and they're really hunting by sight. They're just taking something for the sake of it. They're not really hungry. They've had a lot of bait through the summer
Yeah.
and they're just wandering around. And if something catches their eye,
Yeah.
they will take it. So bigger, brighter baits
Yeah.
really do come into it. And what I like about the sausage is the fact that you can do anything you want with it. You can make a small bit,
Yeah.
a big bit, you can make it round, you can make it square, you can punch it.
You're not restricted
And-
to certain sizes,
No,
are you?
no, no, no.
You know, you can do
So-
with what you like, yeah.
So for a lot of the venues I fish, big fish, big baits, you can see there, that might look a real big bit of sausage to you. But I can just trim it down so it's nice, almost like a pellet sort of size,
Yeah.
10, 11 mil. I'm not worried about any rough ends. And you can see there, in the winter when you're fishing a bomb
Yeah.
for a few fish, you can have another hook length, get it all ready. You can make it, a lot of people like Mark Goddard in the winter, he was making it round like a boilie,
Yeah.
casting out like that. And you can have 1 or 2 chucks, leave it out there 20 minutes, try the red one, try a different colour. But in cold, clear water, definitely the yellow one is the number one.
And there's no trouble with this on the cast either.
No, no. Like I say, a sensible bait stop. You can see there, it's just pulled through. Again, another good tip in the winter, nice bright bait stop.
Yeah.
Try and pick something that's a completely different colour to the bait.
Okay.
Again, touching on the hunting by sight.
Yeah.
Anything that will catch their eye.
Yeah.
And you can see there.
Look at that. That's a target bait, that is.
Yeah, yeah. And you can see why in the winter I had so much confidence. Small PVA bag,
Yeah.
pellet cone. Like I say, that kind of fishing, when you're just looking for a handful of bites,
Yeah, when
it
it's
really
cold,
is
yeah.
a fantastic bait. And the fact that you've got the options of when this is out, you've tightened up to it and you're waiting for that bite, of getting another hook length ready,
Yeah.
try a red one, try a bigger bit, try a smaller bit.
Yeah.
If you're not getting many bites, bigger and bigger and bigger.
There you go. Absolutely fantastic.
It really is, like I say, it doesn't just lend itself to method feeder fishing, straight lead fishing,
Yeah.
and even pole fishing.
Fantastic. So, going on to the pole,
Yeah.
how would you use it on the pole there, Will?
Well, again, you saw that I caught a decent fish earlier on it. And again, you know, you can really make your hook bait exactly what you want.
Yeah.
From a long slither to a small piece. And you can see, just for instance, if I use the bloodworm one,
Yeah.
one of my favourite ways is just to cut a circular piece off and literally just cut it into four.
Yeah.
And what you've got then is a nice bait. You can even see the bloodworm again in it.
Absolutely, yeah.
You've got nice pieces of meat there that can just be hooked on. This is how I was fishing with it in the edge when you came up.
That's right, yeah, and you've had a few on that
Yeah,
already,
yeah. And what I like about this is because you've got two flat sides, you can hook it on
Yeah.
and actually have the point of the hook
Show it.
exposed.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this is a massive advantage when you're striking at real fast bites. You want that point exposed.
Exactly.
You want that to be coming out immediately.
Yeah.
But there's lots of different ways. If you cut it down, this is a popular way as well. And you can use a small punch and you can get a lot of hook baits out of one piece, one small piece of meat. You see there?
Yeah, absolutely tiny, aren't they?
Yeah,
So,
nice,
yeah,
perfect for F1s,
Absolutely.
perfect for bream. I won quite a few matches this year,
Yeah.
feeding pellets, feeding ground bait and fishing tiny bits of
On
the
the hook.
bloodworm meat
Yeah.
on the hook. And this on a 14 or a 16 hook for bream, F1s, small carp, really is a deadly bait. But one of the advantages with the sausage is the fact that you can do what you want with it.
It's
You can
versatile.
use a great
Absolutely.
big piece of meat like this for big carp in the winter,
Yeah.
or even in the summer if you wanted to, right down to tiny little bits of bait. You can make them round, you can make them square. Some people actually put them through a meat cutter,
Yeah.
so they're all different. But I like to, while I'm fishing, just to have a play around and be thinking
Be
all
able
the
to
time,
react
thinking
and
I want to try
yeah,
a bigger bait, I want
absolutely.
to try a smaller bait. But it really is a fantastic bait, and what it does lend itself to is a change bait. It's one of those things you can have in your bag. If your day's not going to plan,
Try it.
or if you're getting liners,
Yeah.
a quick change can often result in fish.
Yeah, and then-
and when you know yourself the size of the fish on these commercials,
Yeah.
you don't need many. And if you change your bait and you get a response, that one fish can make all the difference.
Absolutely. So there you go, guys. Simplicity and key. A very versatile bait. £1 a stick. What else do you need? So you've got another one on here, Will.
Yeah, I'm having a real good time at the moment on the method feeder, mate.
Well,
It's quite shallow where I'm casting towards the island,
Yeah.
and it took me a little while. I was fishing quite big bits of sausage.
Yeah. It's a nice fish.
Yeah, they're all decent fish, but I was fishing decent sized bits of the bloodworm sausage, and there was a lot of fish swirling around and I wasn't getting many indications.
Right.
And I've changed to a real small bit
Yeah.
of the sweet corn sausage, almost probably slightly bigger than a maggot. I'll show you in a minute.
Okay, that'll be good, yeah.
And I just started catching fish all of a sudden, just like we said earlier,
Yeah.
that little bit of a change bait. I mean, it's not the biggest fish in the lake, but the thing is with the method feeder, you can catch lots of fish quite quick.
Yeah, you can. It's quite a good method to build your weight up
Yeah.
quick, especially when they're there.
But it was so noticeable that a change of colour of bait definitely has started to get bites.
That's just amazing. We were saying that earlier in the film about
Exactly,
different colours, how it.
Exactly.
What mix have you got in here then, Will?
This is green algae with a little bit of my favourite, the maggot meal. That just gives me the chance of swapping to maggots if I do need to. Or
Right.
again, just another change bait.
Yeah.
But you can see.
I mean,
pig-
I know what that green alga smells like as it is, and the,
Yeah.
the maggot meal that you put in there, again, it's transformed it.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Going on to the method mix, green alga
Yeah.
there. Which again is one of my favourite method mixes.
I can smell that from here, and it is so
yeah,
strong.
Yeah,
you
well,
know.
the best thing about all the Old Ghost products is the smell.
Yeah.
And if it's a bigger appeal to us, as in the smell, it
Yeah.
definitely is in the water.
Because fish,
And-
yeah, I mean, I know this, you know, looking at fish behaviour, and underwater, there's that many different scent trails.
Yeah, yeah,
Underneath, they don't know what's going on. If
Mm.
you can have a really powerful bait that can
Yeah.
draw them in,
yeah, yeah.
you know, and leak off
Yeah.
these amino acids, which is
Well,
triggering them to feed, it's going to help.
The one comment I've heard a lot from people that have switched to Old Ghost baits isn't necessarily, yes, their catch rate has gone up, but what they can't believe is the amount of fish that they've actually got in their peg. The amount of swells, the amount of bow waves out, the amount of bubbles. And obviously if you can attract more fish,
Yeah.
you're going to catch
Catch
more
more.
fish.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
something that, you know, when I first started using the Old Ghost products, I couldn't believe all of a sudden how many line bites I was getting, and the fish just seemed to like it.
Yeah.
And the biggest difference between our products and other products is the smell.
It is. it's very
Everybody, you
powerful.
open a bag and everybody's like, "Whoa, I can't believe how strong that smell
That's it.
is."
And again, it's natural.
Mm,
All
yeah,
our
yeah.
baits are made from prime natural ingredients,
Yeah, yeah.
sourced globally
Yep,
from the best
this is
suppliers
it.
ever.
This
That's
is it. Just a quick one to show you.
Yep.
Just go straight in the mould.
Yeah, as you do, yeah.
Yeah, lay it nice and flat. Fill the mould full of the ground bait. Just press it down gently. And the key now is not to be too manly with it, not too. And you can see just a little squeeze there,
Yeah.
and the hook bait is right in the top.
Yeah.
Green alga, it breaks down quite slow, but again, it's a very strong.
Yeah.
And you can imagine that cast out to an island,
Yeah.
like on the lake here today.
Yeah.
You're just going to fill your net up with
That's it.
fish.
And we'll go more into the ground bait later, but
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
on waters which have seen a lot of green ground bait,
Mm.
this mix is proving deadly.
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
club anglers phone me up saying, John, this stuff, I've never won a match in my life, and all of a sudden they're
Yeah.
getting in the money, you know.
Yeah.
River anglers
Yeah.
are feeding it through the feeders and bringing in quality shoals
Yeah,
of
yeah,
roaching, and
yeah.
it's a product that is really going from strength to strength.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I've fished some very, very big matches this year, and you know, been fortunate to win a few
Yeah.
of them. And you know, when I look back and that, the amount of fish that I've had in my peg, not necessarily the amount of fish I've caught. Yes, this is the most important thing.
Yeah.
But when you look at the amount of fish you've had in your peg compared to other people, that is a big, big difference.
Yeah. And that looks good. Are you confident you catch on that?
Oh, I think we'll definitely catch a few. Like I say, it hasn't let me down yet. Just a little twist. Again, it's something that I've been using quite a lot recently. We all know how popular the edge fishing is.
Oh, yeah.
With specimen carp, that kind of ground bait, and dead maggots.
Yeah.
But one twist I've been using, and it goes really hand in hand, is the green alga again.
Yeah.
One, like I say, for method feeder fishing, it really is a fantastic mix. It's nice and sticky, but it breaks down ever so quick.
Yeah.
And this is what obviously you want to do when
wanna
you're
do,
method feeder
absolutely.
fishing. You don't want to be leaving it out there for 20 minutes,
No,
reeling
no.
it in, and it's still on there. But like I say, obviously dead maggots and ground bait in the edge is a very, very popular method.
Yep.
And it's accounted for some massive match wins, not just for me, but a lot of people through
Absolutely.
the country. And a lot of people don't take this thought onto the method feeder.
No.
Basically, they think dead maggots, ground bait is for edge fishing,
That's it.
and that's it. But I've taken it on to the method
To the
feeder.
method. How
And
do you
that's
do that
where my favourite, as you know,
Yeah.
additive, maggot meal comes into it. It's 100% ground down maggots
Yep.
that have been cooked. It's an unbelievable additive. It flavours your whole ground bait with that maggot scent,
Yeah.
with that real strong.
It's 100% pure, isn't it?
Yeah,
Again, it's just,
yeah.
As you said, ground
And again,
down
it's a
maggots.
product that no other company has got. And you can really smell, it's like that ammonia.
Yeah.
And now
It's-
this added to the green algae.
Yeah.
And
Transforms it, doesn't it?
instead of the meat, a bunch of dead red maggots on the hook, 3
Yeah.
or 4, and it's something that I have a go at later. But what is a fantastic thing about these products, you can start on meat,
Yeah.
and the way I like to do it is to start on the hair rigged meat, like we've just shown. And if there's a lot of fish, this is a little bit slow. It's fantastic bait.
Yeah.
It really is the number one, but it can be a little bit slow. If you're catching one every cast, then maggots on the hook is definitely better. It speeds everything up.
Yeah.
But having a bag of maggot meal, you can adjust your ground bait immediately.
Absolutely.
Just by literally opening the bag, a little sprinkling on top, and you can actually see the
Yeah.
maggots in there.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it really does smell very, very strong. Just mixed in.
And there's no other bait more popular than the Humble Maggot.
No.
It's been around
No.
since,
And,
for
and
years.
like I say, I've won some very big matches this year, fishing maggots in the edge.
Yeah.
And it's just something that I've carried on to the method feeder. So you could see, I've obviously got a hair rig on here, but a bunch of dead red maggots, exactly
Yeah.
the same as,
Yeah.
as we did the method before.
Yeah.
And you can see the maggots, and that really has transformed that ground bait
Yeah.
from a fish mealy type smell, very, very strong, into ammonia, maggoty sort of smell.
meaty smell, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, that bag of maggot meal, £5.99 in the shops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll last a while. It's
Oh,
very
yeah,
powerful.
yeah, yeah.
It's seriously a good investment that I think every angler should
Definitely.
have in their bait bag.
Definitely.
You know, you never know when you're going to need it.
Yeah,
but certainly
yeah.
it'll give you that edge. Can't it?
Again, it's just one of those things. Everybody uses cool bags now. Everybody's got a bait bag.
Yeah.
Bag of this, a few sausages in your bag, just a few change baits, and to be able to adjust your ground bait from fishing punch sausage
Yeah.
and ground bait.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute, there's a lot of fish here. I want to try and speed it up.
Yeah.
Try and catch them on maggots.
Yeah.
A little bit of maggot meal into your ground bait immediately alters your ground bait,
Transforms it.
lends it towards
Yep.
the maggots, and you can be away. And it's little decisions like this and products like this that can make a massive difference.
Absolutely. Brilliant.
You can see that's the sort of size piece of meat that I'm catching on.
Okay, yeah.
Again
Again with the bright stop on it as well.
Yeah, nice bright stop. In the mould like we did earlier.
Yeah,
Fill the mould full.
yeah.
One press. Again, I'm not pressing it too hard. Not to crush the meat.
That's
A
it.
little press and away you go.
Sometimes if you stick it, press it down too hard as well, it'll stick to the mould.
Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, the beauty is with the mould, using the moulds, is you can compress it as hard as you like.
Yeah.
If you're using real hard hook baits like pellets or even boilies, you can push it on as hard as you like. There you go,
Do
there's
that
another
straight
one.
away. That wasn't in 30 seconds
No,
and
but
that's it went round.
It's a combination of the ground bait,
Yeah.
the fish are finding the ground bait, and you can see a big cloud where the fish are feeding.
Yeah, you can.
And the power of this ground bait, the smell, is just attracting them straight to it. What is more noticeable today, normally in a coloured lake, red is the colour like we spoke about earlier.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it was so obvious, I just changed to the sweet corn sausage, slightly smaller bit, and immediately the rod's round.
Absolutely.
And it just goes to show that just having a few of the sausages in your bag, it's not so much, the ground bait's going to tempt the fish, no problem. But just that little change in hook bait in this coloured water is obviously just catching their eye.
Absolutely, yeah.
And like I say, I'm getting bites quite regular. They're not the massive fish that are in this lake, but when you see the sort of speed that we're catching them at,
They're cracking weight builders.
yeah,
Absolutely. They're the ones you want, really.
yeah, definitely. I mean, they're you can't quite pick them up. They're 4.5 pound.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's just a fantastic way of building a weight quick,
Yeah. Lovely. Pop him in the net.
But the thing is, again, what I like about this style of fishing and using these hook baits is the fact that you can play around.
Yeah.
You can experiment. If one colour's not working, then
Try something different,
maybe another
obviously.
one will.
Yeah.
And it's a case of having all your punches there, a selection of the sausages, and just ringing the changes, going through, because a lot of anglers just say, oh, he's only catching over there because he's on a load of fish,
Yeah, that's
because of this. And although sometimes that is the case, it's not always. And what I've found recently is ringing the changes, different colours, different sizes. I
Different
mean,
sizes,
that's
yeah,
not a
yeah.
massive bit of meat by any standards,
Yeah.
And in the winter, it probably wouldn't be visual enough.
Needs to be
But
bigger
because
in the
they're
winter,
coming
yeah.
to the ground bait that is so potent, you saw then, it literally was a case of cast out, put the rod down,
Off it,
and
off the
within
rest
seconds,
almost,
within seconds it's round. But again, just casting nice and accurately, just off the point of the island, and
Yeah.
immediately that ground bait will be dissolving. It's quite a sticky mix, but immediately when it hits the water, bits will be breaking off it, fish will be coming up to it and attacking that ball. And what they're left with is, like I say, not a massive bait, but a nice, bright, visual bait.
Absolutely.
And that is why,
Yeah.
you know, my catch rate is definitely upped.
The maggot meal that you put in there as well, we had a look on film earlier, and these actual small maggots which have been baked, that is offering that much attraction in there. You're almost like as if feeding maggots as well with it.
Yeah, definitely. You know? Like I say, what it enables me to do is, if I want to try, you know, if I'm getting a lot of liners, a lot of indications and not many bites, I can try maggots.
Yeah.
Because what that maggot meal gives you is the scent of maggots.
Yeah.
It gives you the flavour. And as we all know, you can't really feed maggots when fishing a method feeder. But what the maggot meal enables you to do is to fish maggots on the hook whilst introducing the strong aroma, that almost ammonia sort of smell of the baked maggots.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's something that I've used to great effect lately, just really using the same tactics as you would do fishing in the edge with ground bait and maggots, but on the method feeder. Especially, it's not so effective if you're casting into open water, but if you're casting to an island,
like you are
it can be very effective, because basically you're just mimicking what you're doing
down
in the edge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there you go. Fantastic products. The maggot meal is a truly highly effective, potent additive which we recommend you put into a lot of ground bait mixes, especially on this method. Give it a go. He's into another fish. We're now going to talk about the extractive range of ground baits. The 6 in the range, starting at $3.99 a kilo, up to $4.99 for a bag of ground bait. Now, as I say, the 6 in the range, and they're all made from 100% pure natural ingredients. We'll start off talking about the match carp. And the match carp is a fish meal based, krill based ground bait which mixes up absolutely perfectly and can be used for a variety of different species. So what I like to do is basically just mix some of this up and just show you exactly how simple it is to use by mixing it up. But to do this, I'm going to ask Will to do it for us, as he's done it before many times.
Thanks a lot, mate. Like I say, well, like John's already mentioned, it really is one of the nicest ground baits in the range, as it lends itself to a lot of different methods.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the one thing to remember with the Old Ghost products is, because they're 100% extruded, which means all of the moisture has been taken out, you do need to mix them well in advance. By this I mean, if you can, before you leave home in the morning, or the first thing you do when you actually get to your peg. It really needs time to absorb the water. You've all seen people knock their ground bait up really fast and feed it immediately, and it ends up floating. This is because it hasn't had chance to absorb all the water. And what you need is a good hour, hour and a half, where the ground bait's just left. Keep adding little bits of water to it until you think it's holding its maximum amount. And this will just make sure that 100% of the ground bait will sink. Not only sink, but when you first mix it, it doesn't bind that well. But as it takes on water, it will start to grip. And this is even more important when you're adding particles to the bait.
Absolutely.
Like maggots, corn, or pellets.
Absolutely.
But you can see, because of the ingredients and the way that it's been extruded, it mixes up so well. It almost looks now like it's been riddled. There's no lumps or bumps like you do get in other ground baits.
Yeah, that's a key characteristic with a lot of the ground baits from Old Ghost, is the fact that there's no fuss mixing. It's simply out of the bag, add the water, give it a good mix, no riddling required, no fuss, no mess, simple.
But as with all the ground baits in the range, that is one of the most important things, is to give it time, a good hour, hour and a half. Like I say, I quite often mix it up. As I'm leaving home, I just mix it quickly in a bowl to make sure that it's started to the process of taking the water on. And then when I get to my bank, just fine tune it and just make it dead right.
Yeah, you open that bag, and again we've talked about the strength and the potency and the smells of these ground baits. Again, this theme continues into the ground baits and all the products from Old Ghost. Quite simply, they're designed to attract fish into your peg, and as we said before with the sausages and the green alga ground bait and the maggot meal, these products really lend themselves to drawing in fish from a wide area into your peg.
One of the good things, again, just touching on the match carp, is it's a fantastic ground bait to mix with other ground baits.
Yeah.
One of my favourite mixes for edge fishing with whatever bait, whether it's paste, meat, corn or dead maggots, is the specimen carp. They really do go hand in hand. Sometimes you mix one ground bait with another and they just don't seem to match. They almost seem to keep themselves separate. These two really do gel. And again, mixed with one of my favourite additives, the maggot meal. It is one of the deadliest mixes I've ever used.
Yeah, I know exactly what you've caught with that and how, and it does prove testament to just show how good these products mixed together actually are.
Yeah.
Talking about the specimen carp, again, this is a $4.99 ground bait. Mixing wise, it's simply a 3-to-1, so 3 parts bait to 1 part water, and you get a perfect mix. But notice when you have a look at this sort of ground bait, the particle size is quite large, but again, it's because it's extruded, and we talk about extrusion, and what's happening is these particles are going into the water and they're staying on the bottom until the fish eat them all up. They're not dissolving into the column, creating problems where fish are swimming, finding their food through the column, creating foul hooking, line bites, that kind of thing. This stuff stays on the bottom, fish come feed over it. I think you've got some already this mixed up, haven't you?
Yeah. There's some that I mixed earlier, excuse the pun, but you can see that the particles have swollen right up. And like John spoke about, the extrusion process takes all the liquid, all the dampness out of the ground bait. So it's a case of mixing it early. This has been mixed for a good hour now, and you can see that it really does bind well. But me and Mark were fishing at a fishery close to here, and we were actually watching the fish feed over this. And what was so noticeable, with finer ground baits, the fish come in, and if you spook one and it swirls off, the whole of your peg is clouded up with small particles, and this just drifts away. With the specimen carp, because of the weight, I mean, that's a heavy ground bait. Now, if you feel that, where it's absorbed the water, it is a heavy ground bait. And what is totally unique about the specimen carp is the size of the particles.
Yeah.
And what this gives you is a ground bait that can be fed in a cup or by hand. And when a big carp comes into the margins or against an island or wherever you decide to fish, and you actually spook it or something spooks it, and it turns the ground bait up. This, we noticed it when we practiced for the Match This final, that it just sinks immediately, straight back down, and it's on the bottom. It's not creating, like you said, that cloud, and it's washing away.
Eat. Instead of gill feeding, it makes them eat particles more.
Yeah.
Makes them easier to hook.
But again, got to stress the point of preparing the ground bait well in advance.
Yeah, these particles in the specimen carp ground bait are large, and they take on lots of water to actually make them effective.
And just to add to that, John, what makes it totally unique is there's no other coarse fish meal ground bait on the market.
That's it, yeah.
And it really does, like I said, it lends itself to those big fish.
Yeah.
You're getting other manufacturers of ground bait, you get a fine ground bait, fill it full of big particles and feed this. It's totally, you know, it's not what you're trying to do. You want to fill a coarse ground bait with big particles, full of big particles for these big fish. And like I say, since I've been using it, you know, my results as far as edge fishing is concerned have just gone through the roof.
I mean, the particles in there, you know, it's primarily snail-based as well, which water snails are a fish's natural food source, you know, and if you can recreate that in a bait, you know, the effects are astonishing, and the fish do come in over this, and what we've witnessed in fisheries is quite phenomenal. It's absolutely a fantastic bait. Also, looking at the $4.99 ground baits, we have got the krill. This comes in a full kilo bag. Again, the mixing is simple, 3-to-1 bait, so 3 parts bait, 1 part water. It's quite a finer mix, but it's like, the good thing with this is there's 20% pure krill in this, which is extremely powerful. Okay, so what we'll do is, I think if we can mix up a bit of this as well, because although it's a fine mix, you know, we can actually see exactly how it mixes without the need for wriggling or anything like that.
Where this mix for me has really come into its own, John, is in coloured water. We fish a lot of lakes down our way that are almost a chocolate brown, where the fishing, you know, the stocks are so high, not just of carp, but of bream as well. The stocks are very high, the water's very coloured, and not just the power of the ground bait, the smell and the potency of this ground bait, but also the colour.
Absolutely.
Red in coloured water really is a winner. Going back to when I used to fish on rivers, I fished a lot on rivers through Europe, and if the river's up and coloured, red, pinky ground bait really is a winner.
That is strong smelling, that is.
It is. I mean, with all of our products, the one thing that people say immediately is how rich they smell. And you know, this is one of the major factors in why the old ghost ground baits are catching so many fish in England at the moment.
And how would you guys use this on the fisheries that you fish? Would you cup it? What? How would you do that?
Well, I mean, I personally use it a multitude of ways, from the method feeder to throwing small balls in, to cupping it in, and even in instances on coloured lakes, to make a bit of noise, especially if you're behind and you want to try and really up it and attack it, is to actually throw some in the edge. And combine noise with a powerful smell and a nice, bright, powerful colour, and you've got a good chance of having a good end to the match.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I've used it with open end feeders as well for bream.
Yeah.
Big reservoirs and that places. Works really well there.
It does, it mixes up. Again, look at that, guys. There's no sort of riddling required, and it just mixes perfect, ready for use, you know. And that is what we want to try and achieve and make every angler in the UK have a go and find out how simple these products are to use. We're now going to talk about the 3 other ground baits in the range, which are retailing at $3.99. We'll start off with the Old Ghost Bream. Here, this comes in full 1 kilo bag. The mixing instructions are the same as all the others, which is 3 parts bait to 1 part water. I know that Mark Goddard here has been using this to great effect, and he's going to just show you 1 how to mix it and 2 exactly how he uses it. So, yeah, Mark, what do you do with that?
Brilliant ground bait this. It's sticky and sweet, and the bream seems to absolutely love it. It can hold a lot of particles as well, which makes it really good when you're trying to catch bream. It's easy to mix up like the rest of the ground baits, but you need to give it a long time again. It's dead easy to use, don't take any riddling. You see it mixes up dead easy straight away. And straight away, even before we've let it settle, it goes all sticky.
Nice strong smell again as well.
Yeah.
You can imagine how many particles you can put in this when you're skimmer fishing. I mean, it's a brilliant ground bait.
I think one of the things that makes the bream ground bait so good is it is sticky, and we all know for bream, whether you're fishing with dead maggots, worms, pellets, the key is a lot of particles in the ground bait.
Absolutely.
And if the ground bait's not sticky enough, obviously you're going to struggle to do this. But this can be made into a ball even when it's full of particles.
Yeah, straight to the bottom, breaks up, keeps every fish on the bottom feeding where you want them basically.
Yeah.
It's a very sweet mix as well, and we know how much bream loves sweet mixes.
Yeah.
And
it's a proven fish catcher in the colder months.
Yeah, definitely.
When we first got hold of this mix, we actually went to Stafford Moor on a silverfish festival, and I was lucky enough to win it, and Mark finished in the top 6.
Yeah.
And it was a case of, again, you know, we were catching fish. The lake was actually iced up 2 days.
Crikey.
So just by introducing small amounts, again, with pellets, dead maggots, chopped worm, depending on what lake you were.
That's the thing, you could use any bait with it as well.
Yeah,
that's the good thing about it.
That is it, it's very versatile. You can put a lot of bait with it, you can put no bait with it. But in my experiences, and I know Mark's the same, to catch a big weight of bream, whether it's on pellets, maggots, chopped worm, corn, you need to introduce a lot of it, and you need to introduce it in the ground bait.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if the ground bait's not sticky enough, it's no good.
Moving on to the second ground bait in the $3.99 range is the F1 Match. Again, a full kilogram. Mixing instructions exactly the same on the back. Bait 3, water 1, 3 parts bait to 1 part water. Mark's had success with this with F1s and small carp, and I'm going to leave it to him now to show you how to mix this one again.
Yep. Oh yeah, this is brilliant. Another brilliant ground bait. Nice smell to it as well.
That's the thing, you notice, it's unbelievable, all of them. As soon as you open the bag, it's like bang,
So
it hits
powerful,
you.
isn't it? Yeah.
And I'll pass this one. John will tell you about all the ingredients in it while I'm having a mix.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of wheat germ in this again, similar to what's in the Bream, so you've got that kind of sweet and fish meal crossover again. This has been proven in the UK what F1's actually like. So we developed the ground bait based around those needs. Mark's just mixing this now. Again, it's simple.
Yep.
You know,
It's dead easy.
yeah.
It's a lot more fluffier than the Bream one.
Also, what is noticeable about this ground bait is that the colour it looks in the bag isn't the colour of the ground bait. When
That's
you
right.
mix it, you can see that it's turned a lot darker.
Yeah.
When I first was using this mix, I've used it a few times on a small lake near me that's full of F1s. When I first used it, I looked at the bag and I thought, oh, this might be a bit bright for winter fishing. But when you actually add water to it, it does take on a slightly darker colour than it actually looks when it's dry.
Yeah,
But
it
again,
a lovely colour. Red flakes in it, and the fish just seem to love this one.
it's quite an active ground bait, this as well.
Yeah, it is. I mean, when we're fishing for F1s as well, I mean, I've had personal, good experiences with it by fishing it quite wet and sloppy as well. You know, fishing a pellet through it, it's again a versatile bait, which is what the Old Ghost range is all about. So, you know,
Great mix is the Bream and the F1 together, 50-50. Makes a wonderful mix that.
that's fantastic. We'll have a look at the third and final ground bait in the X-Attractive range. This is the green alga. A lot of, I say it's green. There's a lot of fisheries which respond very well to a green ground bait, and this bag lends itself perfectly to that. The great thing about this is when you're mixing it, although it's green, you don't get any nasty colours on your hands, that kind of thing. There's a lot of marine alga, which is basically seaweed. There's also a bit of krill in here, lugworm, snail, mussel, a lot of everything which fish absolutely love. The key amino acids in here, feeding triggers, it does what it says on the tin. It's green and it mixes up perfect, and we'll show you just how to do that. Now, Mark, have another go.
I think we all know how popular the green ground baits are.
Yeah.
You know, they really have taken a foothold in commercial fishing now. And, you know, not only for bream, but carp and various other fish. And I think, you know, the fact that we've got a good green ground bait in our range, coupled with the ingredients, coupled with the extra powerful smell, it really is a fantastic addition to the range. And like you say, it's already proven to be a lot of people's most, most favourite ground bait.
Absolutely, and this lends itself to fishing very well on a method feeder as well. Which we showed earlier on the sausages. This was the mix we used. I'm just overwhelmed by the smell of that. Actually.
Yeah.
Powerful.
And as
But
soon as
like
that
the
goes
rest, it's easy to mix.
Again, it goes that darker colour, which is vitally important for UK anglers. When the water goes cold, clear, you know, it really does lend itself not only to catching big weights when the water's coloured because of the smell, but that slightly darker texture really lends itself to cold water fishing when you're fishing for a handful of fish, be it bream or carp.
I find this perk particularly good for skimmers as well. Fish a little cage with some dead nuggets on the hook. It does really work.
Definitely. And what is good about the whole range of ground baits, not only can you mix them together if you come up with your favourite mix. My favourite mix for edge fishing is the specimen carp and the match carp. Absolutely fantastic. But all of them, you can add either the liquids or, in my opinion, the #1 additive, the maggot meal.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry to keep going on about the maggot meal, but it is something
unique.
else.
It's unique, it's different, and it's catching a hell of a lot of fish all over the country at the moment. So to summarise then, basically we've got the match carp, the krill and the specimen carp, which are our $4.99 ground baits, the F1, bream and green alga, which are our $3.99 ground baits. Sensibly priced, sit well in the market, go out, get yourself a bag, go and fish with it. We'll be doing that just now. So far we've spoken about the hook bait sausages, we've talked about the 6 blends of X-Attractive ground baits and their effectiveness. Now for something a little different. Will's going to be fishing down the edge for some big carp using one of his favourite mixes. Let's go and see how he gets on with it. So you just started fishing down the edge.
Yeah.
You're starting to get a few indications down
Yeah.
there. I can see that from here.
Yeah.
What are you feeding down here, Will?
Again, it's my #1 mix.
Yeah.
Specimen carp, 1 bag.
Yep.
1 bag of match carp, about 1/3 of a bag of maggot meal, and
Yeah.
a good helping of dead red maggots.
Yeah, it's that maggot meal's in there again, isn't
Yeah,
it?
you can really smell it. I mean, I'm not just saying it, it really has accounted for some massive weights for myself in matches,
Yeah,
and
I've
some
heard
very,
of it.
very big match wins. Basically, it's an attacking method.
Yeah.
After every fish, a nice sized ball, satsuma size,
Yeah.
that's put in the pot. Very attacking, very good method for when they're, you know, when you need a big weight. And again, just taking your time when you're feeding it, because it's all about accuracy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just deposited that in about probably 6 inches from the bank.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind now, you know, that's a big particle ground bait. It's a very rich ground bait. And not only that, like I've said, we've added a very big dollop of dead red maggots.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're fishing out on the hook as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hook bait,
Yeah.
isn't it? Maggots.
It is, for me, it's the #1 hook bait when you're fishing in the edge. 6 or 7,
Yeah.
big red maggots.
It's quite a mouthful for any
Yeah.
carp, that is.
Size 12 hook. Again, you know, it's positive fishing, it's not for the faint-hearted. And again, I can see that ball fizzing,
Yeah.
so I can drop my rig right in on top of it. And bearing in mind, we're using the specimen carp is half of our mix. It was mixed early, so it's nice and heavy.
It's taken on that
It's
water. as
taken
we
on
were
all the
discussing
water.
Earlier.
Yeah. And basically these carp, there you go.
There you go, straight into
Straight
the fish
away.
there. That's a good fish, that is, Will.
Yeah, like I say, mate, there's a lot of fish. You see a swell just past it when we were feeding there, but the advantage that this mix gives you is it's very heavy.
Yeah.
And when you get these feeding fish in your peg and they're wafting and they're wafting the bait around and they're swirling,
Yeah.
with this heavy mix
Yeah.
that is 50-50 F1 and specimen carp with some maggot meal, when they waft it up, it doesn't create that big cloud. It just goes straight back to the bottom.
It does, and to prove that point, I'm looking down there now and I can see swirls already. They're
Yeah.
straight back on
Yeah.
it, you know?
Yeah, but it's important with this method to be very positive. Feed.
It's an
Catch
attacking
one,
method.
feed again, yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to see the size of the fish, you know, they're eating machines. They're just, you know, the only reason carp ever come in the edge is to feed, and to feed aggressively. And that's why you need a lot of bait and the correct ground bait to put a lot of that bait in, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Like I say, you know, I've had some real big match wins this year and big weights at a variety of different venues. And, you know, like I said earlier when we were chatting on the bench about the products,
Yeah.
you know, my catch rate of edge fish, you know, I've always done okay in the edge and caught a lot of fish, but I feel that it's just gone through the roof since I've been using this mix.
Really improved your results. You
Yeah,
think, Will?
Yeah,
Look
there you
at that.
go. Nice big mirror.
What's that?
Bunch of maggots, probably about £8. It's, you know, I've had them today probably 14, 15 pound.
Yeah.
Hooked perfectly in the top lip. And there you go.
Absolute cracking fish.
Yeah,
You know?
perfect. Attacking. But the difference is now, John, with the bait that is available to us,
Yeah.
is that, like I touched on earlier, you know, the sausages, they're purpose built
Yep.
for fishing.
Yep.
This ground bait is purpose built for big fish,
Yep.
method feeder, fishing in the edge. It's actually made for it.
Yep.
Instead of having to make do with a product that's too fine, not heavy enough, it doesn't hold enough bait, now we're faced with a product that is absolutely made for this.
Perfect.
And that's why, in my opinion, that my weights of edge fish have just gone through the roof.
So there you go. Again, by being careful and positive on the baits that you use from this range of baits, you can catch fish just like that, as regular as that. Come down to see Mark, who's fishing the paste, and already he's got one on. And this looks like quite a decent fish.
It's not a bad one.
What paste do you have that on, Mark?
This is on the snail carp paste. This one with some protein binder in it. I'm fishing a long way up the bank,
Yeah.
so I've added the protein binder to stiffen it up So obviously it lasts longer in the water. So you can sit for, the paste stays as soft as you want it, but
Yeah.
you can be in the water for like 5 or 6 minutes before it dissolves and it
Brilliant.
comes off. And as it's getting cooler now,
Yeah.
you want a bait to be able to sit there and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, paste is a very popular method, isn't it, now in the UK? A lot of anglers are trying to find a simple way to use paste effectively, and I think I'll show you now with the 4 that we've got in the range how they cater for just that. We'll start off with the snail carp paste. This is a $4.99 and comes in the 300-gram size bag. I'm just going to mix it up, and the mixing instructions quite clearly start at the back. Pour 1 cup of bait into the mixing bowl and then 1 cup of water. So we'll do that. So 1 cup of bait.
Really
In
is
there.
a nice simple paste to mix up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's dead easy.
I'll put 2 cups in, so what I did then do is obviously put 2 cups of water in as well. Okay.
Are you going to put some protein binder in that first or no?
Yep, 2 cups of water straight into that.
They say about 10 minutes, don't they, before it reaches its...
Yeah. Now you look at that and you think it's absolutely soaking, and to be honest, yes it is, but what will happen is the paste will then start to absorb all the water and then take on its fluffy consistency, which we're going to do. So we'll leave that there and see if Mark can catch another fish in the meantime. So while we're letting that go, Mark's already into another fish. This is pretty good here, isn't it, Mark?
It is good. I've had 3 pots of specimen carp at the start,
Okay, yeah.
and within probably a minute I would have said they were on it.
Yeah.
Is this something similar to what you do as well, Will?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar. I've done a lot of paste fishing. It's a bit difficult fishing paste, especially on a sloping bottom. Obviously, if you're using the float or the paste to register the float, if you're slightly out, you know, your float's either going to sink or stick right up. But
Yeah.
I fish a little bit over depth, same as Mark's doing,
Yeah.
and just wait for a real positive bite. But like I say, I've used all the paste. The snail carp paste is my favourite. But Mark mentioned the protein binder.
Yep.
I mean, that is just a fantastic additive. I mean, it really does just make any paste or any ground bait into like a sticky, almost fibrous
Yeah.
paste.
So
You
it's
can
almost
see
like
it
a
there.
perfect hook
It's-
bait,
yeah,
which
yeah,
you can
yeah.
put on the hook
Yeah.
and just, yeah.
But like Mark said, if you're shipping out a long way, if you're waiting a long time for bites, it's a perfect additive just to stiffen your mix up, to stiffen the paste up a little bit, so you can just sit and wait a bit longer, or have the security if you're fishing a long way. Mark's fishing 14 metres today. When you're shipping out and the paste
Yeah.
is in the pot, it just stiffens it up a bit
Yeah.
and just makes it that little bit easier.
Easy to use. I think a lot of anglers, they've been told that they've got to fish paste in a very sloppy way, which does it get you more bites? Some people say yes, some people say it doesn't make any difference. And I think the more anglers that get to use paste and can
Yeah.
play with these kind of products
Definitely.
and make it, they can then adopt their own way of paste fishing. And it,
Apart from the paste or the ground bait you use for paste, this is the only product you need.
Yeah.
Because that will make it as sticky as you want,
yeah,
and it just doesn't come off. Well, it does come off the hook, but it's not going to fall off the hook
yeah,
like a lot. And there's no other additive out there that you can make any of your favourite ground baits or paste that little bit stickier.
that's it.
It really
absolutely.
is a fantastic thing just to have in your bag, a bit like the sausages, a little bit like the maggot meal.
Yep.
Just have it in your bag
Yeah.
for as and when.
As and when. And so we just showed exactly how simple it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
to mix up two
Yeah, yeah.
2 cups of bait, 2 cups
Yeah.
of water, and you've now got a paste
Yeah,
which you can put around your hook,
Yeah.
ship out,
absolutely
catch a few fish on it.
perfect.
Now I see here Mark's got a couple of mixes. You've put the protein binder in here, haven't you?
Yes, protein binds in both of them.
You have a look at this. I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
You can see this sort of fibrous texture this paste
Yeah.
taking on, which really does lend itself well to just pinching onto a hook, and you can see that there.
Yeah.
That
With
would
it,
be
with
so
ground bait
enticing.
being fed a lot down the edge, this is perfect.
Yeah.
We've always said, don't we?
Yeah.
You've always got to try and match the hook bait to what you're feeding.
Yeah.
And if you're putting in the specimen carp ground bait, fishing that over the top, the fish isn't going to think twice
No, no,
before
no.
slurping it up. And
No, exactly.
there you go. It's
But what
hooked.
a product to have. Just in
Absolutely.
your bag. It's a resealable bag. away you go.
Yeah, so that's it. The
Yeah.
Old Ghost protein binder, £4.99 for a bag of that. It's quite a fine
It
texture
makes,
product.
It makes paste fishing easy.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Have a look at these other pastes, John. I mean, the margin paste is definitely one of my favourites. It's already got some of
Yeah.
the protein binder in it,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit of that stickiness, that fibrous sort of texture,
Okay, should
and that really is my number one. That's my favourite. I know Mark's got, you know, the
Yeah.
snail carp, but this one I've
Yeah.
put a lot of fish on, and the same as Mark. The reason I like it is because I can put it on and it's not falling off the hook.
That's right, and
It's
you've got
on the hook
confidence
and I
it's
can
on
sit
there.
and wait and wait and wait and wait. Especially this time of year, temperature's just starting to drop. You're not going to get a bite every chuck as soon as it hits the bottom.
No, you're not.
So it's very important for me to know that it's on the hook
And it's
that
on,
I can
you're
sit and
staying there,
wait.
waiting there for it. Should we mix some of this up just to show
Yeah,
how
yeah.
easy it is? Again, it's 50-50. So we'll just have a go with that, Will.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, this really is. And again, you know, as with the ground baits, it's just about time, preparing it, giving yourself plenty of time.
Yeah, that's key. That.
You never ever want to mix any of the pastes or any of the ground baits and then just start to use immediately.
No, that's it. That's it. You've got to let them take on all that water and
That's
come
it.
to the consistency that it's designed to be done.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. I mean, this one's already got some of the binding agent in, and you can see that that's almost like water. You would never think that that's ever going to absorb the water, but because of the way that the Old Ghost products are made, it does absorb the water, and again, that's why you need to give it time. Going back to the protein binder, John, I think it's important to mention that to add that when the paste is dry.
Yeah.
Mix it together
Yeah.
dry and then add the water.
And that's it.
You can add it as or after the paste has been wetted, but it's definitely better to mix it all together dry and then add the water. If you do this, you get a more
That's
consistent
it.
mix.
Same with your ground baits really as well. Mix all your big ingredients basically, you dry and then go from there.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So Mark's just into another carp.
I have to say it's a little bit too easy with this paste now, John.
You like the products, don't you?
I think they're brilliant, all of them. I haven't got any problems using any of them.
Thing is, they're user friendly as well.
Yeah.
Not only are they a very high quality bait that obviously catches a lot of fish, but they're very user friendly.
I mean, yeah, it's simple. Simplicity, isn't it? And that's the thing these days. Things have got to be simple for the angler.
The main
Yeah,
thing
mate.
is,
Yeah.
John, they catch fish.
That's it.
But it's not this complicated kind of ground bait that you need a quarter of a bag of this and a pinch of this and a pinch of that and this, that and the other. You open the bag, put it in the tub, mix it 50-50, follow the simple instructions and away you go.
That's it.
This
So
is
we
a
talked
better one.
about the snail carp paste and the margin paste, which both retail at £4.99. Now, I've got my personal favourite as well, which happens to be the krill paste. And I'll show you why. This is krill paste, 150 gram bags, and it retails for just £2.99 in the shops. Very cheap, but that doesn't mean it's a cheap product. So again, simple mixing, 50-50. 1, 2. Okay.
So if you were going to add some of the protein binder, now would be the time
Now
to
would
do
be the
it.
time to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. 1, 2. Now, as we said before in the DVD about the colour of baits, this mixes up bright red. And in coloured water, this is exactly what you want. Again, it's very runny. I mean, that is dripping. But give it a few minutes, and that will be the perfect paste to put on your hook and get out there and catch some carp. And when this is done, I'm going to give Mark a piece, and I'm going to prove it that he can catch fish on this.
You can see the one there that I picked up a minute ago that was almost like liquid. You know, that's been probably 5 or 6 minutes now.
That's
absolutely
ready to go,
perfect.
isn't it? Yeah, that looks
It really
absolutely
is.
fantastic.
You wouldn't have thought that that was going to come back to something that was usable, how wet it actually
That's
was.
right, yeah. And the colour of that water out there, it just,
Chocolate, isn't it?
there's so many fish have come in. And you just say you fed some specimen carp ground baits to
I
start with?
put 3 pots of specimen carp in loose. Didn't squeeze it, so just put it in loose.
Yeah, just on the ground baits and all the other products as well. They're made from prime natural ingredients, as we've said before. And the beauty of this is that these are fishery friendly, you know. I know fisheries that have done tests on these baits and they've put them through filtration systems and they are not clogging up filters, and it just proves that it creates a healthy fishery, healthy fish, you know, and it catches a lot of fish as well.
Yeah, that's the important part.
Enjoying yourself now, aren't
Yeah,
you?
it's brilliant, isn't it?
Right, you're going to have a go with my krill paste
Right,
now.
I'll try that next to this jug.
There's a little bit with the fibrous powder there. I just mixed
Have you done
in.
that in it? Okay.
Yeah, seems to have taken quite well to it.
Yeah, I've mixed it before wet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When I've had to go out a bit further
Yeah.
and chase them, and I thought the paste was a bit wet, so I've added some more
yeah.
protein binder to it, and it worked fine.
I think, you know, you add protein binder, the angler's then got confidence, it's on the hook and the fish is there, you
Yeah.
know, it's going to stay on the hook.
It's paste made easy, that's what it is.
That's what it
It's
is,
just-
yeah.
Like I say, it's just another one of those things to have in your bag that you can just add to. You know, you can sort of fine tune your baits on the bank,
Yeah.
to conditions or how the fish are feeding. And I think that's a brilliant sort of tool to have.
Yeah. As we were talking about colour of paste, I mean, that is bright red,
Yeah.
you know, and like, it's good, as you were saying, to have in your bag. And
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at the difference between those two colours.
Yeah.
And just to have that at your disposal to try.
Yeah.
And it can make a massive difference. You saw
Mm.
earlier on the method feeder, a change of colour of hook bait, and immediately, you know, your catch rate quadruples.
Absolutely,
And to
yeah.
have those kind of pastes at your disposal in resealable bags that you can take a pinch out and just do along with the protein binder, I think is just a brilliant range of baits to have at your disposal.
Absolutely. And the affordability of them as well, you know, they don't break the bank. I keep saying this, but they've got to be affordable to the angler to go out and actually try them, haven't
Yeah.
they? You know?
Yeah.
And by giving yourself an option on the bank, fishing is not an exact science, as everyone will tell you, and you've got to be able to react on the day to the changes.
Exactly.
And if you give yourself and stack the odds in your favour, you're going to have a good day. Because if you go pre-armed that I'm going to catch on red paste and it doesn't work,
No.
you've
that's
then
it.
got your other margin paste to fall back
Yeah,
on.
yeah, exactly.
You know.
Which is why it's good to have all these baits at your disposal, a bag of each with you, one or two of the sausages with you, and away you go. You can ring the changes, and quite often in fishing, as we all know, there you go,
Got
On your
another
red
one on.
paste, that
straight
John.
away on the red paste.
I'm going to have a go in a minute. Oh, I am. Okay, so there we have it. We've had a great day here at Cobhouse Fisheries. This fantastic catch here taken by Will and Mark just goes to show the effectiveness of all these baits. Thanks for watching and join us next time for the next DVD of Old Ghost Bait Experts.